We ran some tests, Mrs. O'Connell. Matter of fact, we ran hundreds. The thing is, Mrs. O'Connell, please, you need to stay open-minded. It's imperative that you listen. You must understand. Your husband has been found. Your husband has been found.
Thank God. Honestly, when the police told me to come to this laboratory, initially I was so confused. But you found him. Where is he?
Mrs. O'Connell, this is going to take a bit of explaining. 1 year ago, there was a woman in a rural town in St. Lucia. She called the police in distress because her child hadn't returned home. As the police took the report, they said she was rambling about a piglet lying on her bed. You see, she didn't own any farm animals, so she took it as a bad omen.
What does this have to do with my husband?
Later that same day, she sold said pig to a local butcher, and...
Trust your rights have been read to you. I'm Detective Constable Napson. I'll be doing your questioning today. Right? How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Right, good. Could you tell me what happened on the 13th of January? What you were doing, where you were for dinner, etc.
Okay, on that day, I purchased an animal and I just continued my routine as normal after buying it.
Which was?
Harvesting it.
You mean you killed it?
Yes, that's what harvesting means.
Mrs. Cassidy, what's your profession?
I'm a butcher.
And what do you do as a butcher?
I slice, tenderize, and trim animal meats from larger wholesales, and then I portion them into varied parts, just for what's on demand.
Last year, you were voted by your local town as best butcher. You must take a lot of pride in your work, very precise with your knives, aren't you?
You could say that, yes. Harvesting animals can be very challenging. Turning a chunk of meat into something appetizing, some would say it's an art form.
And what would you consider an animal to be?
Excuse me?
Answer the question.
I don't know. Any living creature?
List them.
This is absurd. There's too many.
List them.
Cows, sheep, goats, chickens, rabbits, pigs.
Humans.
Excuse me?
Could you describe to me what you see in these pictures?
Please, I don't want to see that. I can't.
I don't care. Tell me what you saw.
Please, I don't want to.
Tell me what you saw!
I can't!
When the butcher's co-worker came in the next day, he didn't find a pig. Instead, he found mutilated body parts that were skinned and separated. Discarded organs in a dumpster bin. Something you'd find in a horror movie.
What animal does this meat come from?
I can't say for certain.
Guess.
A human? A child?
I'm gonna ask you this one more time. And this time, I want honesty. What did you do on the 13th of January?
I already told you. The day before, a woman, a customer, she sold me a piglet. She said she found it on her bed. Yes, I killed the pig. I swear.
The butcher was charged with murder. But when the forensic team got their hands on the weapon, they couldn't find any traces of human blood. CCTV cameras in the shop also didn't show anybody but her in the kitchen cutting up the piglet. Stumped, the police thought they could find further evidence by identifying the body. The DNA of the corpse matched the DNA of the woman's missing son. A curious 1 in a million case, some would claim. Except, Mrs. O'Connell, it didn't stay that way. As time progressed, so did the number of cases, from Greece to China. A woman found a piglet, cooked it, and while she was eating the pig, it suddenly wasn't. It was the remains of her husband. A group of piglets on a farm were attacked by wolves, but the meat digested by the predators was human. The farmer's sons, to be precise. I could go on, Mrs. O'Connell. All these cases have been classified, and all of them are unsolved. Mrs. O'Connell, do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Adora, we think the same thing has happened to your husband, to Matthew.